if there was a way to develop that financial sense earlier and then go for your passion project, that feels like a better path to me now after having lived it. But the fear then is, do you get stuck in the money obsession?
Welcome to the Cash Flow Chronicles. I'm your host, Jonny and the founder of Cattani Capital Group. For the last 2 years, I've been studying alternative assets and now help solve the problem of creating passive cash flow for creators, influencers, and busy professionals by bringing you 5 episodes a week of easy to understand education in the world of passive investing. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Cash Flow Chronicles. I am your host, Jonny, and I'm joined today by Mark Burik. Mark has been a professional volleyball player for 16 years. Along the way, he's built multiple businesses, including one of the most recognizable companies in beach volleyball. He's also a part-time real estate investor and has 7 deals under his belt as buy and hold. He's also the host of the new podcast, EntreprenAthlete, which launched January 16th. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jonny. Good to be here, man. Appreciate it.
Stoked to have you. Mark is, like we mentioned, one of the top coaches in the industry, and came to Salt Lake during COVID because California was shut down. And I think I did almost every single one of your classes and camps. So we miss you here, needless to say. But that was a lot of fun. And we're excited to chat today. So you've done a lot. Love that you've got some real estate in there, and we'll kind of get to that. But give us kind of a Reader's Digest version of, how you got started and what led you to where you're at now.
Yeah. I don't think I ever considered myself anything like an entrepreneur. I just kind of got into it. In the beginning, I was playing, and all I cared about was playing volleyball. And then when you play beach volleyball, you need a side gig. You have to find some way to fund your season while you're getting going. And even like if you're the top 5 players in the country and you're just crushing it weekend after weekend, you're still making about minimum wage.
No kidding.
Yeah. Even now, it's crazy. Like, without the help of sponsorships, partnerships, anything, when you include all the expenses and all the hours, you get paid well below minimum wage if you actually include the hours in it, which is crazy. But anyway, I started coaching when I came out, and I was like, all right, I'll run a few lessons. That way I don't have to leave the beach. I can practice, run a coaching session. All right, now I'll pay for rent. And then I also had this idea for a volleyball vacation, because hundreds of people come out to California to play the game in the best state that there is. And so I was hosting them, and I was hosting them through Airbnbs and then coaching them during the day. And it still wasn't bringing in a ton of money. It was keeping me alive. But there was this one point where my financial, light switch flipped on. And I was driving some of our campers through Palos Verdes, which is this big, beautiful mountain town right on the coast. And all of the houses, they have these big, giant windows, and they stare over the Pacific Ocean. And they just watch the sunset every day. And I tell this story a lot, but I thought back to standardized tests in school. You're from Jersey, right?
Yes.
So did you guys have the standardized reading and math where you were in the 98th or 90th percentile or whatever?
Absolutely.
So we had those, and I scored really well on those. And I looked at all those houses, and I'm like, are there really that many people that are that much smarter than me that they have that and I don't? I was like, it's just got to be a button to press, not an effort thing, but which button do I press that generates the most wealth?
Yep.
And that's when I just started looking to generate wealth. And the thing that I landed on quickest was bigger pockets from real estate. And I went hard on real estate. And then within, I think, 4 years, I had 6 properties.
Wow.
No.
That's awesome. I love it. And obviously still have those all in California. Local?
0 in California.
Oh, nice.
As I said, I had $2,000 in my bank account. So there's no way I could afford any of this. And so I started paying attention hard to, okay, if you find a deal, somebody will be okay with it. You just have to be okay with asking. And I did the whole fake it till you make it thing. On my Instagram, everything. I was like, I'm a real estate investor. Real estate investor. What's up? I'm Mark. I'm a real estate investor. Like, don't you play volleyball? I'm like, yes, I'm a real estate investor.
Oh my gosh. I'm only laughing because that is literally how I got through the first year last year, my first year in business. I can't tell you how many times I was like, hey guys, fake it till you make it. I was telling people before I even started Katani Capital Group and invested in my first deal, I was telling people I was a real estate investor.
Hell yeah. I mean, but you are at that point. Like mentally,
oh, commercial real estate. I don't know.
Yeah, but you are. Once
Yeah.
you decide to dedicate like 100% or even 80% of your energy to something, like that's okay. That's what you are now. Even if you don't have a deal, like mentally, you're already there.
Yep.
So
I love it. And so where are they? Where's your portfolio?
Mostly in Florida. I've got
nice.
two. Sorry. Well, I bought two, but I sold one in Memphis, and the rest are in Florida. And the only reason was because all of my personal connections. Number one, I was not willing to ask anybody during my first few deals for like hundreds of thousands.
Love that.
But, we had a lot of beach volleyball player real estate people in Florida. It's like a thick with beach volleyball players. And so since I was announcing it all the time, one of my good friends that I competed with, she had just become a real estate agent. Nice. And so her like mentor was giving her cheap deals to like get rid of. She's like, I don't want to deal with this $80,000 house here. It should be an easy sell because this woman wants to get out of it. See if you know anybody. And she said, hey, I've got this 80,000. It's worth 120. She needs to buy it. And I was like, did all the napkin math, and I was like, this works. Like, this works. I was like, just got to find money. And so I did. I went with a private loan for the first time, and the person trusted me. It was a big deal. And then we carried it from there.
I love that. That's awesome. And are these are long-term rentals, or are some of them in the short-term Airbnb space?
I just bought one last year that I was hoping to get into like the Airbnb, and we bought it. And then when I went to look at it, I was like, oh, this is not going to work for Airbnb. But anything that I buy right now, I'm not like swinging for the fences where, if I miss, I'm whiffing. Is it going to work as a long-term? Can I sell it immediately and not lose? And could I possibly do Airbnb? And so for that one, it was possibly Airbnb. And then we just decided not to. So
that's awesome. I love it so much because obviously I'm very biased towards real estate, but I love that you set that up because now that allows you to grow, right? So it's stable, the income is going to be there. And now you can go and grow another business, which is what you're working on now and have been working on. So let's kind of switch gears here. You obviously love beach volleyball, right? So now you're coaching, you've got better at beach and some other things. So kind of touch on how that came to be and growing that to where it's at now.
Yeah, that was through the coaching thing. So we were bringing people out to California. And Airbnb was kind of new at that time. And so I said, hey, I'll coach you for a week and you can stay in my apartment. So here's the funny part. I was 30-year-old professional beach volleyball player, right? And I was bringing people out for a vacation, a training vacation. At one point, I had 4 apartments. I was doing Airbnb arbitrage before it was like a thing.
No way.
I think
early adopter. Holy cow.
Yeah, I should have stuck with it. I just got
that just became a thing like within the last year or two. So you were like 4 years ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I wish I had held on to it or been a little bit smarter, but I didn't do it like the right way or anything.
Right.
I went into it, and then I think we had like 30 beds across 4 different places. Like I looked at the math and I said, I've got this 2
just all beds. You just walk in, there's just a bed in every corner.
Close. We had one master room that had 4 sets of bunk beds. Like it was a big master bedroom. And I was just like, oh my God, I could run like team camps in here. And so we did, but I ended up getting evicted from 2 of them. And I was like, I'm not messing with that. But it wasn't from the volleyball thing. It was from the non-volleyball players that I didn't vet.
No kidding.
In between camps, we had the people coming in, and I think like on 2 or 3 separate occasions, they had thrown parties. And the biggest thing was that they had to walk through the backyard, like past other people's doors. And then they would get lost because they couldn't find the garbage dumpster. And then the other people in the apartment complex are like, who are you?
Yeah.
And so that was the one thing that got me. But anyway, I did the math, and this is probably an interesting thing from statistics, because I did the math on one unit where I was living in my 2-bedroom apartment. And I said, okay, I've got 2 bedrooms and this is how much I'm making. So if I add 4 more bedrooms, I'll pay for $5,000 for a 4-bedroom apartment. I should make the same. And that wasn't it. The money to be made in Airbnb was actually in private houses or private apartments, because I thought, yes, I will pay $30 a night to sleep on a floor. Like, give me as cheap as possible, no matter what. And then the first time the guy that woke me up, he goes, I know it's $50 a night per bed in that one room and then $75 in the other. He goes, if I just give you $300, can I have the whole apartment? And I was like, what, are you rich? And mind you, like, your own kitchen, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms for $300 a night. That's an easy hotel deal, and I couldn't get my head around it. And so then I said, oh, there's like a different market that makes it way easier, and so then I did the math wrong. And that's when I kind of brought everything back and then continued in a different way in the business. So
I love it. That's awesome. And then obviously, so when did Better Beach start? Like what year? How long?
I mean, technically, if you want to look way back, the name Better at Beach started 3 years ago.
Okay.
Just as COVID was coming out.
Oh, wow. So you were brand new when you pivoted and came to Salt Lake for that period.
Wasn't brand new, because I had Volley Camp Hermosa for 5 years.
That's right. Okay.
We just wanted to change the name so that it was more universal.
Got it. So the name Better Beach was new, but you guys weren't new to the coaching and camps.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. We've been doing that for 5 years.
Okay. Awesome. And so what have been some of the keys in terms of, because you obviously stuck with your passion, right? Which is what everyone tells you to do, go find what you're passionate about and make that a business. What were some of the challenges and kind of how you overcame those along the way?
I keep thinking I've got a daughter on the way. So I keep thinking, what's the advice that I would give somebody else? I'm super happy with what I did. I almost think you want to do it in reverse. Yes, I'm passionate about this. And yes, I found a way to make beach volleyball work, which is a notoriously low money sport. And man, coming into it,
these private basketball coaches who are making, $500,000 a year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Coaching a couple soon to be D1 athletes, and they're making, and then you got volleyball, which is arguably more exciting. I mean, we're biased, but anyway. So
the challenge was just grinding through that money situation the whole time. And that's why I got so upset. And that's why I had to find that real estate outlet, because I was like, here's my passion. My passion is making me grind, stay up late, clean toilets at night when I'm supposed to be a professional beach volleyball player. So if there was a way to develop that financial sense earlier and then go for your passion project, that feels like a better path to me now after having lived it. But the fear then is, do you get stuck in the money obsession? Then you get that, they call it lifestyle creep, where once you have a certain amount of money, you're willing to spend more. And then the line for you, or the space that you have in terms of profit or net worth, it stays actually the same. You just got more expensive garbage stuff around you.
Yep.
So I don't know if I would have chosen a sales career earlier, hey, let me get into banking or finance for 2 years and then go and do whatever I want. I don't know if you would stick with that then after 2 years. So I don't know. I really don't know the answer. It's I chased my passion and I found a way to just grind. And at least now I don't have to worry about rent next month. I'm still not happy with my net worth or where I am. I'm still pushing for that. But at the very least, I know that I've got a big, long runway where I can screw up for a while and still be okay.
I love that. And I mean, that's really how it goes, right? Is you try something, it doesn't work, and you just pick yourself up and try the next thing. And, no one knows it all, right? Even if you went and got the full finance background, then you still have to learn how to implement that and what the structure is supposed to look like. So now that you do kind of have that, for those that, may be interested in this path, what are some metrics that you do pay attention to that are important, that you would say like maybe 3 or 4, they're like, these are the ones you should be paying attention to. And then from there you can kind of plug and play.
I'm notoriously terrible at budgeting, like looking at what we spend as a household. Like this is actually a meeting me and my wife are having this week. We're like, okay, we finally got our bank accounts all into one. We got ourselves on the same credit card. And so this week we're like, all right, now what do we spend? What's coming in? This will be a big budget. And then setting a goal is going to be a nice first thing that we're doing together. For me, it was just how many different ways can I bring in a couple $100s a month? That's all I really need. Like a couple $100s a month, just so that at least some money is coming from somewhere that I don't need to stress about or work for. And that's the whole long-term, the long-term rentals. That's been really nice. And to be honest, the cash flow on them hasn't been good at all. But it's brought in that like $200 or $300. And then I would refi. I would take all that money out and then I would cut it again to like, now it's at like $95 or $100 in cash flow. So if we have one accident, cash flow is ruined for that year. But I took that money from the refi and then I would chuck it into the next deal. So I keep trying to build and build and build. And right now I'm in a phase where I'm like, all right, how do I take all these little monopoly greenhouses and turn them into red hotels? I'd like to do some multifamily stuff. But I'm also working on a few other projects. So.
Yeah, it's a tale as old as time when it comes to residential, and nothing against those who have monster single family portfolios. It works, and respect to those people. But when you get to that sort of scalability part where it's like, okay, I could keep buying these single families, or I could go buy one 10-unit apartment complex and literally have the same amount of doors,
right?
And far less headache to deal with. So love that. So you've obviously launched the new EntreprenAthlete. Sounds like now you're kind of switching gears and going to start teaching and it sounds like you're going to be focusing on the sports business. Is that kind of the main focus and teaching that, or what does that look like? What's the goal there with EntreprenAthlete?
What does it look like? It looks like me just wanting to have the conversations that I want to have. So I've given the world my sport, like my complete knowledge. It's almost all of it's on YouTube. A lot of it's in podcast, like free videos or Instagram, whatever. There are now athletes who have been playing for 4 years who come to us and say, you are the only person I've ever learned volleyball from. And like, we've never met. So awesome. That feels good. The company will keep going. We built a team this year. I focused on building a team this year and like replacing every little task or thing that I did with somebody who could do it. And now I can hand it off to actually like my best friend who I'm making CEO. And the reason for this is not because I hate beach volleyball, but I'm not interested anymore in having bump set spike conversations, because the whole reason for a sport is to help you elevate your life in some way. It should make you happier, should make you fitter, healthier, a better person. You should learn how to operate within a team. And then you should be able, which most people don't do, I think, be able to translate that over to your company and your family. Like if you're yelling at your partner on the court, or if you figured out how to talk to your partner on the court and make them play better, you need to bring that home. You have to figure out like, what words can I say to her when she's bummed out that'll make her perform better, be happier, take it easy. And a lot of it's in difficult conversations. So basically I'm tired of the of the bump set spike conversations. I want to have like better, more interesting life conversations. And I'm always really interested now in business, scaling, entrepreneurship, real estate. So I said, let me create something where I get to have those conversations. And I know enough about YouTube to start generating income from that relatively quickly. And we'll start that podcast just as my personal cheat code to having conversations with people who are way smarter than me. It's just really the podcast and the interviews that I'll do is an effort to put myself in a room with people who are way more successful than me. And I don't think I've done that enough in my life. So
I love that. I mean, you're preaching to the choir. That's exactly why I started mine. And it's been tremendous, obviously, in my growth. Like I said, was telling you offline, there's so many ancillary benefits too that you don't even realize are there, that are just incredible. So very excited to watch that grow. And that's awesome that you've kind of recognized that. I feel like so many people, so many entrepreneurs work so long in their business that they can't recognize when and or build it to where they don't need to be a part of it anymore. So that's really awesome that you were able to recognize that. You know, everybody's going over in 2 now anyways. So what the heck is bump set spike, you know?
yeah, exactly.
If you know, you know.
No, that was a conscious effort for a long time. Like I want to work with people in large groups. I get excited and fired up by that. But I don't in any way like want to be famous, you know, like the whole famous thing where people like consistently recognize you somewhere and then they talk and they interrupt your dinners or something like that. I want none of that, but I do want to be really comfortable, and I do want to create things that people are truly thankful for. For beach volleyball, like I get a lot of thank yous every day, and that kept me going for so long, and it still keeps me going. And if I can, with EntreprenAthlete, if I can teach athletes like myself or people who are coaches or sporty people and get them off the ground with their businesses, and I've created another thing that people are thankful for and has helped them, then again, like it fulfills me in a big way, you know. And real estate has helped me sustain, you know, like keep the bank accounts going so that I can do that stuff. And I think that's why I haven't really focused hard and gone full into real estate, is because there's not enough thank yous from like tenants. You know, when you get a long-term rental, like my property manager doesn't thank me. My tenants don't thank me for allowing them to have like such a great place to live or for repairing the stove, whatever. But when I help somebody get better at volleyball or help them be a better coach, or if I can assist people in any way in helping them build a business, I'll get those thank yous, and that'll create a life for me that I want.
Yeah, far more satisfying for sure in that realm, right? When you're, I mean, and that's really the path that you're seeing taken now, is you go learn it, figure it out, just like you did, right? Better Beach isn't going anywhere, still going to be there. Shout out to Brandon. Brandon's amazing. He's hilarious. We love Brandon. We'd love to have him on too and get his take, because you two are very different, which I think is what makes it great, obviously friendship and partnership as well. So that's awesome. And I love that. And anytime, like you said, you're helping someone, because it is the hardest part is just getting started, is, I think, right? And so many people just don't start because they don't know where to start. So giving that direction, especially athletes have such a, well, I shouldn't blanket statement advantage, but athletes typically, especially professional athletes, have a huge advantage because they have access to things and platforms and that can propel them, but it still doesn't mean they know how to get started. So having someone who can point them in that direction, help them get started on the right track is huge.
100%. The only reason, like my brother started a company, he retired from the FDNY and started a coffee company called Tradition Coffee Roasters. And he shot me a message And he's like, hey, I'm starting this. It's super fun, blah, blah. And he's like, hey, how do you sign on to Instagram? I was like, all right, homeboy needs help.
Good for him for doing that without even knowing about social media. See, I have so much respect for people who have created and scaled a business without leveraging social media. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, now you're about to be exponentially scalable because you're leveraging social media now. So,
well, it was nice because I was able to give him like his first 3 days of steps. I was like, hey, if you give me like an hour and a half each day, I'll give you your first 3 days of steps. You'll have all of your social media accounts up and running. We'll have hired a virtual assistant and she can put it into multiple places. So you won't have to do anything, but at least your account will be starting to generate an audience. And then once you've generated an audience, then you can sell them. And I realized, this was, I think 4 years ago, I was like, whoa, I was able to give somebody like the first 3 days of their business in terms of social media. And that got me super excited. Like it got me more excited than writing practice plans or workout plans because I'd done that for 20 years. And I was like, I'm writing like a workout plan for this guy's small business. And so it felt good. It feels good. And it'll definitely be challenging, but it's more interesting.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah. It feels like you don't realize, and it's probably a human thing, but you don't realize how much you actually know or understand about a certain concept until you have to teach it. And it's the same with podcasting, right? Like I'm, let's see, 9 months into it. Right. And so now people in some of my mentor groups are reaching out to me and, I'm coaching them through a launch and seeing it work. And I'm like, holy cow, I actually do understand, I actually have learned a lot in this. And it's funny to realize that when all of a sudden you just start going, you're like, oh, wow, I actually know what I'm talking about here. This is great.
Yeah. You do something every day, or you do, what do they say? Like if you do something for, is it 40 hours or 60 hours of work? Like that's enough to become far beyond average, right? Like that's enough to be dangerous. That first 20% gets you 80% of the way. And that's where my interests lie too. Like I'm not interested in anymore the last 20% of anything. Once I know enough about it to put it out there and it's good enough, there it is. It's set. So like YouTube channels for me, Instagrams for me. Now me and my wife are going to start our first little venture into Turo. And it's not like, we're going to figure it out. We just realized that our car's too old and it's got too many miles. So now we're going to trade that car for another one that we can put on Turo. It's like, okay, now we got that. And then this same week, we're starting our Turo business. We're starting our garage gym rental business.
Oh, wow.
I think as far as like a business idea, people who have garage gyms, but haven't made it rentable, like an Airbnb, but for gyms, there's got to be something there. Because some people go to gyms because they want that social like thing, like to show off, meet girls, like show how big your biceps are. Some people want to put their head down and work out as hard as they can. And those are my type of people where it's like, all right, you want all the best equipment in this space and you want a place where you can work out and do everything that you need to on your time. So why not come to my garage?
That's 100% how I am. I don't know that I've ever approached anyone in the gym. If I ever like, unless I already knew them or, of course, to ask like how many sets you have left, whatever. But I don't think I've ever just struck up a casual conversation at the gym. I just love to put my head down and work. Now, is there a platform for people to find it, or is that something you're creating?
That's what we'll do. I got enough of a local audience through the classes. So right now my debate is, do I put it in the same app that we can rent our volleyball stuff in? Because there's like a place where you can rent the studio, but then that'll get mixed. That's when the finances get mixed with like Brandon's new role as CEO, where he needs a clear look at profit and loss. So I'm just like, you know what? I'll just sign up for a Stripe account and I'll use Calendly for booking hours. And then I'll start a one-page website,
Oh, there you go. Sweet.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be, I'm not trying to go major bucks. I'm just like, we spent thousands of bucks in equipment and we've got this nice space. why don't we create a little extra income, especially if we've got like a daughter on the way? Because we're done Airbnb our own place. We did that long enough. And
yeah, I mean, I think a kid on the way is a solid stopping point. Now, we would be remiss if we did not mention how cool your wife is. For those who don't know, she was, obviously now she's pregnant, she was a stunt woman. Is that correct?
Yep, still is. She just can't currently do stunts. They somehow frown upon throwing pregnant women into walls or having them get hit by cars.
Crazy. It's wild.
So some kind of racist, I guess.
And you guys have now been married how long?
Let's see, 15, a year and a half.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Got a daughter on the way. Love that. Mark, it is always good to talk to you. This has been great. We're going to go ahead and wind down here. We'll jump to the final 5. First question for you. Best advice you've gotten from a mentor?
Oh, you're too comfortable in pain.
Interesting.
Do you want me to explain that? Or
yes, expand on that, please.
Okay. I was just doing a drill with a volleyball coach, and like, you need to win a certain number of points in a row. And she was just like, I don't understand why you choose these safer shots thinking that you're going to win on the next ball. Like, eliminate it now, dominate now, and be done. Get out of this drill. And she goes, I think you're just way too comfortable in pain. And that just poof, hit me like a lightning bolt. I'm like, yeah, everything in my life, I just try to prove to people how hard I work instead of just immediately winning and being efficient. And I think that's what I did in my businesses for a long time, where it's like, I put in 12 hours a day instead of now this new business, like EntreprenAthlete, I go, nope, not doing that anymore. I got 6 hours a week. Let's be ultra efficient. So that hit me hard. And I think I pay attention to it a lot more now.
I love that so much. It is fascinating when you break down how much you're actually working on a given day, and how if you did just literally set even a timer, right? You're like, all right, I'm going to work for the next hour, how much you would actually get done and not need a whole 8-hour, quote unquote work day.
Yeah.
It's pretty fascinating.
20%. Like I look at like the social media comments this morning. I set my timer exactly like you said, half hour. And I said, all right, I'm answering social media comments. Are there 100,000 more that I have not answered? Yes, but I did my half hour. I got my reps in. Let's move. So next thing. And you can look at social media and be like, I can't answer everybody's. You're not supposed to.
Right.
Like, set a half hour, knock them out on your computer, not on your phone, so that it's faster and easier. And then get out.
I love that. Yeah. Now that they made it efficient, especially on Instagram, to use your computer, it's been such a game changer.
So nice.
Yeah, I know. It took them forever, but they're getting there.
Yeah.
Cool. What is it about your career that makes you feel like you're fulfilling your why?
The thank yous. We said it before, but it's creating a business that comes back to you in the DMs and the messages, where it's like, thank you so much for this. Thank you so much for this. It's a big deal for me. I don't know why, but I really appreciate the thank yous, and they keep me going.
I love it. That's awesome. Favorite non-real estate or investment related book?
Ooh, Ender's Game. Easy.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah,
love it.
It's solid.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Gosh. Superpower?
Yeah.
The ability to tell the future 7 days in advance.
Nice. Solid. That's
7
a good
days
one.
is enough. I don't want to.
Yes. Absolutely. No, that's all you need. Yeah, that would be huge, right? We could do some.
I don't want to know when I'm going to die or what's going to happen with the rest of the world in like 3 years, but
no, you don't want that burden until it becomes 7 days out. And then you're like, shoot.
Yeah.
Now I know.
Yeah. But then you got a nice like countdown timer.
Totally.
Let's burn all my cash. Let's go.
That's right. How much can I spend in 7 days? We're about to find out.
Right? Like all your credit cards, you just like max them all out, like 200 grand, just boom, done.
I love it. That's awesome. Cool. Last one. What's the best way for people to get a hold of you and learn more?
Yeah. Right now it's my Instagram, at Mark Burik. And if you want to listen to any of my podcasts as well, we've got the Better at Beach Volleyball podcasts, if you're interested in volleyball and coaching, and EntreprenAthlete, which we'll be talking about small business, finance, smart guys like you, and trying to see how we can help people who want to turn their athletic, sporting or fitness passions into a business.
I love it. That's awesome. We will link that in the show notes, make it super easy. Mark, thank you so much for your time. This was incredible.
Cool, Johnny. Thanks for the talk, man.
Absolutely. Thank you again for tuning in. Who do you know that wants more cash flow? Share this episode with them so you can grow your cash flow together. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you're subscribed on your platform of choice so you never miss a new episode. Go to KataniCapitalGroup.com to learn more.